Hello, my name is Amari, and this is our summary and review of Silver and the Book of Dreams. So, to summarize the film, Liv and her sister and mom move around a lot based off of whoever her mom is dating. And because Liv has grown tired of this, it has made her a little prickly. And also, when you add in the trauma of how her dad died, it makes her definitely a bit of a challenge to get to know in some ways. Though, when she meets her new stepbrother Grayson and his friends, because they pull her into their world, which is this world of people who can go into other people's dreams, she starts to make a bit of friends amongst them, and even in terms of one of them, named Henry, a little crush develops. However, this group is not some simple group who just happen to have the ability to go through people's dreams, and Liv finds out that she's one of them. There's blood rituals involved. One of the people named Arthur, his ex Annabelle, used to be in the role that Liv takes on. And there's a question of what happened to Annabelle and whether she was screwed over, set up, or maybe she might be a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's hard to say. The only thing that's made clear is that the direction that the group is going in can potentially lead to death, and it's up to Liv to prevent the worst from happening. So get into the review portion. Excuse me. So get into the review portion. The aforementioned Annabelle, I feel like, is a highlight because you don't know what to expect out of her. She's not a character that's seen throughout the film. She's mentioned a lot, and then she shows up, I think, one time in the first quarter of it, and then she doesn't really become prominent till towards the end. And because of all the things that Arthur has said and the group has said, you don't know if she's somebody that was, again, set up. Maybe if they talk about it a way that they do to keep Liv from knowing her, or if maybe legitimate, what they said is true. And because of that, it makes meeting Annabelle the kind of one of those situations where you want to give her the side eye to try to figure out, is she as bad as she was said to be? Maybe she's misunderstood. Could it be that being in people's dreams as much as she has kind of made her a little bit off her rocker? It's hard to say. So when it's revealed what the truth is, it feels like a treat in some ways. The next highlight is a whole dream nightmare setup. And just to give some background on that, part of the reason why Arthur, Liv, and the rest are do the blood ritual and everything is so that their dreams can come true, but unfortunately, in the process, so does your nightmare. And in many ways, a part of me feels that it's a very intriguing thing to watch. I just wish that it was spread out in like a series way, because as we're going to talk about now in the fence section, if not mix it in with this topic, each character is definitely interesting. Arthur's the rich kid with the cousin who's addicted to drugs because he got them addicted. Grayson, he reads as potentially gay, but it's hard to say, so it would have been cool to get to know him more, to know if he's just a flamboyant dude or not. Then we have Henry, who has issues with his mom, who's a violent alcoholic, who potentially hurt his little sister. Jasper, if we could be frank, Jasper just feels like a black character just to give some fake ass diversity. And then, of course, you have all the stuff that Liv's been through. So, in many ways, you're so pushed to wish that each character got their own episode so we can really get to know them. And it also helps you understand in terms of what I guess you can say teenagers are dreaming about. Nobody is doing anything over the top. Grayson's wish is that he wants to be class president, but he also fears being embarrassed during his acceptance speech. Liv, since her father died, of course, wants to speak to him again. Jasper, because he's into basketball, wants to become a famous basketball player, and etc., etc. Everybody's wish is not over the top. In their nightmare, it's very understandable based off of what their background is. So I like that, even though this is definitely a fantasy film, it doesn't go like over the top and like is bizarre in the way it goes about things. In a weird way, everything makes sense, even though technically it doesn't make sense because, of course, none of this could happen. But again, get into on the fence topic. You're going to wish so badly that there was more development when it came to these characters because everybody feels overly simplified. Jasper, again, the only thing we learn about him is that he's into basketball. Outside of that, we don't learn a damn thing about him. Grayson, we get what feels like archetypes where, based off of your personal experience or what you've watched in movies or TVs before, you can kind of fill in the background, but you don't know if that's exactly what this character's storyline, background, what their life is. You don't know if that fits what you've seen before. And it can get kind of frustrating in a way because I'm not saying that Jasper and Grayson are the most interesting people based off of how they perform, but you can see that there's more that could have been done. I mean, Grayson's family, who you think we would know a bit more, especially with his sister being as weird as she is, you do want to see more of them and kind of understand why this kid, who's very odd, is trying to become class president. What is he trying to prove? Is this for college? Is this for popularity? Why does he want to be class president so bad? Because that's not really tapped into much. In terms of Jasper, why does he want to be a basketball player? Is it that he wants to travel to America and do that type of thing? Is it because his father was into basketball, his mother, maybe? Like, the reason behind these dreams, in some cases, like Henry, like his mom being who she is, you get the dream nightmare situation. But for a lot of them, it's just thrown out there and you're just like, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but all right. And heck, thinking about it now, in terms of Annabelle's dream and nightmare, I don't know if they even went into what that was. But again, a lot of this film feels like, especially because it's a book adaptation, it feels like stuff was cut for time. And this feels like the type of cutting that was more so butchered than it was like carefully like slivered off because they just couldn't go deep into a specific story, situation, or anything like that. But overall, I think and hope honestly that somebody decides to never mind this existence and just remake Silver and the Book of Dreams, because it feels like there's so much more that could have been done. And while I'll give credit to this movie for definitely showing that there is potential here, that there's something that is worth readapting, at the same time, while I like the film, I also have to admit, just even starting to read about the book, it's already starting to build up my disappointments for what was delivered.